All right, these are our reviews for number 7. Again, we are using our identities. Number 7a asks us to determine the exact value of the cosine of 165. There are many different options that you could do for this. I chose to use a sum identity. I used the cosine of 135 plus 30. Again, the trick is that you want to make sure that you pick two angles that you can find all these special ratios of. So we need to go through and figure out all the special ratios. Now, 30s are in the first quadrant, so I don't have to worry about positives and negatives. 135 is in the second quadrant. 135 is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So the cosine of 135 is negative root 2 over 2. The cosine of 30 you should have memorized is just root 3 over 2. The sine of 135 is root 2 over 2 positive, and the sine of 30 is half. So we have negative root 6 over 4 minus root 2 over 4, which you can't really combine together. So you have negative root 6 minus root 2 over 4 for your solution here. B asks us to find the sine of 195. I chose to use the sum identity again, and I rewrote 195 as 150 plus 45. So it follows this pattern, the sine of 150 times the cosine of 45 plus the sine of 45 times the cosine of 150. 150 is an angle we got to think about. It's in the second quadrant. It would have to be a 30-degree angle. So 1 root 3 would be negative and 2. So the sine of 150 is going to be positive 1/2. The cosine of 45 we should know as root 2 over 2. The sine of 45 we should know as root 2 over 2. And the cosine of 150 is negative root 3 over 2. We have root 2 over 4 plus negative root 6 over 4, so root 2 minus root 6 over 4 for our solution. For 7c, we have the cosine of pi over 8. First thing I did was convert pi over 8 into degrees. I do not believe 180 divides evenly by 8. So I end up getting 45 over 2, which is fine because 45 over 2 allows me to use a half angle identity. Half angle identity for cosine is plus or minus the square root of 1 minus the cosine of x over 2. Now remember, the plus or minus is determined by whatever quadrant your original angle is in. Since we're in the first quadrant, we're just going to be a positive. The x just refers to the top of the fraction. So it's the square root of 1 minus the cosine of 45 over 2. We know the cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2. We need to get a common denominator on the top, so it would be 2 over 2. So I have 2 minus root 2 over 2, all over 2. And I have a big radical there. I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So I have 2 minus root 2 over 2 times 1 over 2. And that's all being included. So I have 2 minus root 2 over 4. I can root the top and root the bottom, so I have 2 minus root 2 over 2 for my solution. And that takes care of number 7.